In the dim glow of the church, Carlo Acutis stood before the altar, his heart racing with an unquenchable blend of excitement and fear. He had journeyed from the depths of doubt to witness the unfathomable, an altar that had bled divine blood, igniting a fire within him that demanded to be shared. But the path to understanding this miracle was fraught with challenges and skepticism, and as he prepared to capture the transformative testimonies around him, the question loomed: would his voice be powerful enough to resonate beyond the walls of this sacred place? But to comprehend the depth of his calling, we need to journey back to where it all began. Before we continue, please subscribe to the channel and let us know in the comments where you're listening from. The glow of the computer screen flickered in the dim light of the room, illuminating the face of young Carlo Acutis, whose blue eyes sparkled with curiosity. At just 11 years old, he possessed an intensity of spirit and intellect that set him apart. Sitting cross-legged on his bedroom floor, he was immersed in the vast expanse of an internet filled with tales of miracles. Each story was a journey into the extraordinary, but one account captured his imagination like no other: the miracle of Alatri. Fixated on the words as he read, Carlo felt a rush of excitement mixed with skepticism. The tale spoke of an altar that had bled, a divine mark believed to be a manifestation of the Eucharist's sacred presence. How could one discern truth from legend? His young mind whirled with questions. What did faith truly mean in the face of such inexplicable phenomena? And yet, amid the uncertainty, he felt an undeniable pull toward the idea that something miraculous might indeed be within reach. As the hours slipped by unnoticed, Carlo's sense of urgency grew. He yearned not just to comprehend the story, but to experience it firsthand. The thought of standing before the altar sparked a deep longing within him, but a daunting question emerged: how could he convince his parents to embark on this pilgrimage? They practiced a moderate form of faith, attending Mass with regularity, but Carlo knew that the idea of a spontaneous journey to a lesser-known site of divine importance might be met with reluctance. Determined, he resolved to present the story to them in a way that underscored its significance. He envisioned their reactions, picturing his mother clasping her hands in prayer and his father leaning forward with intrigue. The excitement swelled in his chest. Perhaps if he could communicate the reverence and history behind the miracle, this adventure could transform into a family experience, one that would deepen their faith. Breakfast arrived, and Carlo took a deep breath, knowing this was his moment. He approached the table where his parents sat, exchanging morning pleasantries over steaming mugs of coffee. "Mom, Dad, I found something incredible online," he declared, his voice bubbling with enthusiasm. "It's about a miracle in Alatri, and I want to go see it." His father paused, the newspaper lowered slightly. "A miracle? What kind of miracle, Carlo?" There was a hint of disbelief mixed with curiosity, a moment for Carlo to capture. "It's about the blood of the Eucharist that was found on an altar. It's supposed to be real and has been witnessed by many people. Can we go, please?" Carlo's voice resonated with fervor. His mother exchanged glances with his father, a look of caution appearing on her face. "Carlo," she began gently, "that's quite a distance, and I'm not sure we have the time for such a trip." Her concern rested over the breakfast table like a cloud. But the flame of inspiration ignited within him. "I can share the whole story. There are incredible accounts of how it transformed lives. The history behind it is captivating. I really want to see it. It's important to me," he pleaded, eyes wide with hope. Days rolled by, each filled with renewed discussions. Carlo diligently shared new findings, drawing them in with every detail he uncovered. He described the locals' faith, the emotional testimonies surrounding the Eucharist, and how profoundly it impacted lives. As he painted the picture of this miracle, his parents began to soften. Finally, one evening, his father sighed, taking a long pause before agreeing. "All right, we'll go to Alatri." The moment hung in the air like a blessing, and a wave of joy rushed through Carlo. His heart soared with gratitude that at last he could embark on this journey, a chance to explore faith in a way he had only dreamt of. On a warm Saturday morning, the family packed into their car with laughter and enthusiasm. The road stretched ahead, snaking through verdant landscapes that seemed to echo centuries of pilgrimage. Carlo's thoughts were ablaze with what awaited them, fueled by the knowledge that this trip would deepen his connection to the faith he held dear. As they drove through the heart of Italy, emerging from urban sprawl into the lush countryside, Carlo felt the electric thrill of anticipation. Each mile brought them closer to Alatri, and as they approached the town, the vibrant charm of the cobblestone streets and ancient buildings seemed to greet them like an old friend. The church of San Pietro loomed in the distance, its majestic facade promising something sacred. Carlo's heart raced as they neared their destination. Would he truly lay his eyes on the altar and witness its miraculous presence? Every step felt physical and spiritual, a pilgrimage toward discovery that resonated deeply within his soul. As they parked and stepped out, the sun shone warmly overhead, casting golden hues over the surrounding landscape. The air was alive with the energy of faith as Carlo's family walked towards the church. The vision of the altar danced in his mind, a place where heaven met earth, where miracles unfolded in solemn silence. When they reached the massive wooden doors, Carlo could hardly breathe, the weight of expectation settling upon him. This journey was more than a physical trip, it was an exploration of faith, a search for truth in the midst of shadows. As he stood at the threshold of the church, something immense stirred within him. Would this be the moment that changed everything? The anticipation bubbled inside, knowing divine connection awaited just beyond the entrance. As Carlo stepped across the threshold, the heavy doors of the church creaked open slowly, as if revealing a secret long kept. What welcomed him was a world that felt suspended in time, where the air was thick with unspoken prayers. Rays of sunlight cascaded through the stained glass, casting vivid colors that danced across the stone floor, and in that moment Carlo felt his spirit lift. His parents, who followed closely behind, exchanged glances, their expressions a mix of reverence and curiosity. The church was quiet, but the silence was vibrant, filled with whispers of faith that seemed to linger like the gentle scent of incense. It was a sacred sanctuary, where countless souls had gathered in search of solace and inspiration. Carlo glanced around, taking in the high ceilings adorned with intricate frescoes depicting moments of divine grace. Each brushstroke appeared alive, capturing balmy stories from both the past and endless futures, a hope that swirled in the air. He could hear his own breath, quiet yet steady, as he took a step forward, feeling as though the ground beneath him reverberated with the footsteps of those who had come before him. The altar stood at the front of the church, a focal point shrouded in history and devoted reverence. Carlo felt a magnetic pull drawing him nearer, a beacon of sacred light that promised to unveil profound truths. This was the place of the miracle, where the blood of the Eucharist had once been witnessed, and the thought ignited a fire in his heart. "Wow," he whispered, standing at the edge of the central aisle. His eyes were wide with wonder as he absorbed every detail of the altar. It appeared untouched by time, its surface polished to a gleam, draped in white cloth adorned with shimmering gold embroidery that caught the sunlight. "Are you ready to see it?" his father asked, his voice echoing slightly in the stillness. The question hung in the air, carrying the weight of anticipation, and Carlo nodded vigorously, excitement bubbling within him. He moved closer, his pulse quickening with respect and exhilaration. Just then the gentle voice of Padre Francesco broke through his thoughts. The priest approached them with an air of calm wisdom, his eyes crinkling at the corners as he smiled warmly. "Welcome, dear pilgrims, to the Church of San Pietro, where faith comes alive," he said, gesturing toward the altar. "This is where the miracle of Alatri unfolded, a testament to our God's unwavering love." Carlo's heart swelled at the fatherly tone of the priest. He could feel their gazes fixed on him, inviting him into a deeper understanding of the divine. "I've read about it, but now that I'm here," Carlo began, his voice tinged with wonder. Padre Francesco nodded knowingly. "Experiencing it is different from reading about it. Here, you witness not only the miracle, but also the faith that surrounds it, the stories of believers like you." Taking a deep breath, Carlo felt empowered. This was his opportunity to immerse himself in the miracle, to truly understand its significance. He felt a surge of motivation to document not just what was before him, but the essence of the emotions that swirled within the church, connecting past and present like unseen threads. He stepped closer to the altar, reaching for his camera, ready to capture the moment. That light, brilliant and divine, washed over him, illuminating everything with a golden hue. He framed his first shot, focusing on the altar adorned with petals that whispered of miracles. Each delicate layer held the prayers of countless souls. Snap. "Beautiful," he exclaimed, excitement bubbling over. The click of the shutter seemed to echo in the holy silence. As Carlo continued to frame the altar, each angle revealing new layers of beauty, he realized that his perspective was shifting, dynamic. He began to sense something deeper than physical beauty. This was a threshold to the sacred, a canvas painted with miracles. "Let me share a story with you," Padre Francesco said, walking alongside Carlo, pointing toward an intricate fresco to the right of the altar. "This painting depicts the moment when the miracle was first revealed. Many gathered, hearts heavy with doubt, and then witnessed the unfathomable. The blood was a sign of hope, drawing them closer to the divine presence." Carlo listened intently, feeling the weight of history woven into every detail. The warmth of shared stories enveloped him like a comforting blanket as he moved around the church. Looking back at his parents, he could see their engagement in the moment, their hearts swelling with the same reverence that filled the air. He approached another group of parishioners seated in the pews. The elderly were exchanging laughter, weaving tales of decades gone by intertwined with faith. Their camaraderie echoed of the shared journey of life, echoing the importance of community. He felt compelled to capture their stories, knowing that these moments created a rich tapestry of faith and inspiration. Carlo asked the group, "Can I take your picture while you share your stories?" Joy radiated among them as they nodded enthusiastically. The elderly man spoke first, his voice ringing with clarity. "I was there on the day the miracle happened. I remember the hushed whispers in the crowd, the tension rising as we waited eagerly. That day changed everything for me." The warmth in his eyes sparkled like the candles flickering around the room. Snap, another memory captured. Carlo moved from one person to another, listening intently, snapping photos infused with life. He felt as if each story was a thread, weaving together connections that transcended generations. Here in this sacred place, he realized they were all part of the same fabric, a rich convergence of faith, doubt, struggles, and miracles. Hours passed like mere moments, and to Carlo, time stood still. Each exchange fueled his passion, igniting creativity within him. He returned to Padre Francesco, eager to share all he had absorbed. "I want to do something with these stories," he said with fervor. "I want to show how powerful faith can be, to create something meaningful, something that resonates with those who have never been here." The priest's eyes twinkled. "Indeed, Carlo, that is very noble. You possess an innate ability to capture the soul of these moments. Carry this journey with you, let it inspire your future endeavors." Invigorated, Carlo embarked on a new phase of exploration, a dedication to melding the joys of photography and storytelling with the lives of those who walked the same path of faith. But deep within his heart throbbed a powerful question: what lay next along the journey? As the sun began to set, enveloping the church in a rich, warm glow, he felt an inkling that this pilgrimage to Alatri was only the beginning of something far greater, an unfolding adventure toward understanding his place in a larger tapestry of faith and connection. The church stood proud against the backdrop of dusk, a timeless witness to countless stories. Carlo smiled as he prepared to capture the radiance of light mingling with shadow, every frame a promise, each moment a whisper of divine truth waiting to be uncovered. This experience was not confined to Alatri. It was a call to action, a journey forward toward faith, exploration, and the beauty of shared miracles. The following morning, Carlo awoke with a sense of exhilaration coursing through him. Ideas swirled in his mind like autumn leaves caught in a gentle breeze. Today he would continue his mission to collect more stories, and the thought filled him with joy. The sun streamed through his window, illuminating his room, and with a quick breakfast behind him, he set off toward the church of San Pietro, anticipation thrumming in his chest. As he arrived, the quaint streets of Alatri greeted him like an old friend. The air buzzed lightly with the sounds of morning, children laughing, shopkeepers preparing for the day, the faint clang of metal as a baker delivered freshly made bread to the cafe. Carlo felt a deep connection to the town, each sight and sound enhancing his understanding of the miracle that had gripped it. Walking through the ancient doors of the church, he was met with the familiar scent of incense mingling with the physics of prayer and light. The sanctuary felt alive, resonating with anticipation as if echoing the miracles experienced over centuries. Today he had a specific plan. His intention was to speak with families who had long held stories of the miracle close to their hearts, to uncover the legacy that had formed through shared faith. He approached a small family gathered near the altar. The mother, a woman with kind eyes, was holding her daughter's hand, while her husband stood nearby, listening attentively as she explained the significance of the altar to their child. "Excuse me," Carlo began with a shy smile. "I couldn't help but overhear. I'm documenting stories about the miracle of Alatri, and I'd love to hear what it means to your family." The woman turned her warm gaze toward Carlo, her expression brightening at his enthusiasm. "Oh, it's a very important part of our lives. My husband and I often come here to pray and remember the strength we felt when we first witnessed the miracle years ago." "Could you share that with me?" Carlo asked earnestly. He could see the emotion flickering in her eyes, ready to spill forth. With a nod, she began. "It was a difficult time for us. We had just lost our first child, and my heart felt heavy with grief. We came here to pray for solace. It was during the Mass when the miracle was revealed. Seeing the blood on the altar, it reminded us of God's love and sacrifice. It was like hope was rekindled. We left that day with a lightness that had been absent, and it gave us the strength to keep going." Carlo's heart ached for the woman's pain, but he also felt the powerful transformation in her experience. The miracle had given her hope. "Thank you for sharing that," he said softly, snapping a picture as she spoke. The sincerity in her eyes reflected the heart of her story, and Carlo could sense the sacredness of the moment. Before long, he found himself surrounded by friends and family who joined the conversation. Each new voice added layers to the tapestry of emotion. A grandfather wrapped in wisdom shared how, after witnessing the miracle, he had felt a rush of energy that revitalized his commitment to faith. "When you see something extraordinary, it changes you," he said, adjusting his glasses as he reminisced. "It's a reminder that we're all connected through God's goodness." Carlo recorded every story meticulously, capturing not just the words but the essence of the storytellers themselves. His finger glided over the camera shutter, each click a testament to the intricacies of faith and love intertwined through loss and celebration. As the day progressed, Carlo noticed the faces of the townsfolk shining brighter with each story exchanged. An uplifting atmosphere surrounded them. Voices grew animated, laughter mingled with tears, and there was a profound sense of community resonating in the air. It wasn't merely about recounting a miracle, it was about weaving together the shared journey of lives transformed in its wake. Feeling inspired, Carlo decided to invite some of the families to share their stories together. He set up a small corner in the church with chairs, inviting people to sit and talk. One by one, families gathered, curious as to what this young boy had envisioned. With everyone seated, Carlo introduced himself once more, his voice steady but filled with excitement. "Thank you all for coming. I want to create a beautiful narrative of what the miracle means to you all as a community. Let's share our stories and define how they interconnect." As stories flowed like a gentle stream, Carlo felt the richness of faith pooling around them. A father recounted how he used to bring his children to the church every Sunday, instilling hope and love. A single mother spoke of her devotion to the altar as a sanctuary of strength through her trials. Their voices blended into a chorus of belief, creating a mosaic of shared experiences that filled the corners of the church. Carlo found himself captivated, taking photographs not just of their faces but of the very essence of their shared spirit. He clicked moments infused with laughter, moments heavy with emotion, and moments that reflected joy, a collage of life and gratitude that would convey all their narratives. Each frame captured a facet of faith that was both vibrant and nuanced, a microcosm of their community's heart. Hours passed as evening descended, casting long shadows through the church. As he paused, looking at the throng of families united in shared stories, a remarkable realization dawned on him. The miracle of Alatri was about far more than the blood on the altar. It was about the lives it inspired, the faith it ignited, and the community it fostered. With a heart brimming with emotions, Carlo made a final call for stories. "Is there anyone else who wishes to share? Remember, every story matters. Every miracle, no matter how small, creates waves of faith." And then a young boy raised his hand timidly. Everyone turned to him, the air stilling in anticipation. He spoke in a whisper. "When I prayed for my grandma when she was sick, she got better. I felt so happy." There was something incredibly rich in this child's simplicity, an unfiltered connection to faith that left the adults smiling, their hearts warming at his innocent belief. "Thank you, my friend," Carlo said, kneeling to photograph his radiant smile. "You've reminded us how important it is to have faith. Even the tiniest spark can shine brightly." As they wrapped up, Carlo felt a profound weight in his heart. This gathering had ignited a new sense of community. He sensed that he was not just documenting stories, he was becoming an active part of this living narrative. The sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of crimson and gold. Carlo took a moment to look out at the village of Alatri, the church standing resolutely against the encroaching night. It was a vessel of hope, love, and faith, a lighthouse guiding him through a world brimming with miracles, both seen and unseen. As the families began to disperse, Carlo turned to the priest who had been observing the gathering with visible pride. "Do you think they will remember today?" he asked with sincerity. Padre Francesco smiled warmly. "They will carry it with them, Carlo. Every story shared is a flame that ignites the heart, reminding us that we are woven together." The priest placed a reassuring hand on Carlo's shoulder, the bond between them clear, a shared mission to inspire faith in those around them. Carlo felt the conversation with these families echoing within him, a melody of blessings intertwining with the life of Alatri. He resolved to continue gathering these stories, crafting a project that celebrated the essence of faith, a platform where every voice could shine. As he walked home beneath a blanket of stars, he felt a sense of purpose settling in, a commitment to honor the miracle of Alatri. This journey was just beginning. He dreamed of a world where stories of faith inspired countless others, where hope flourished, and where miracles would forever bind hearts and lives together. With each step, Carlo embraced the promise of new beginnings, a life enriched by faith and a mission to share the miracles that surrounded him. The sun rose on Alatri, casting a warm glow over the village. Carlo awoke with an invigorating sense of purpose. Today was the day he would present the culmination of his work, the digital gallery showcasing the stories and experiences of the community surrounding the miracle of Alatri. He could feel the excitement bubbling within him, blending with a hint of nervousness as he prepared to unveil what he'd created. After breakfast, he took a moment to reflect on everything he had learned throughout his journey. The faces of the families he'd interacted with floated through his mind, each one telling a unique story, each story woven into a shared tapestry of faith. Their lives were rich with miracles, and each one deserved to shine, a beacon of hope for those who needed it. Dressed and ready, Carlo grabbed his camera and notebook, each an extension of his spirit and purpose. With a final glance in the mirror, he headed toward the church, feeling a mix of eagerness and determination pounding in his chest. As he walked through the familiar cobblestone streets, he noticed the vibrant flowers blooming along the pathways, their colors reflecting the joy he felt inside. Upon arriving at the church, he was greeted by a familiar sight: families gathering, whispering, sharing laughter, and exchanging stories. The atmosphere was alive with anticipation. Carlo spotted Padre Francesco near the entrance, chatting with a few locals. The priest's face brightened as he saw Carlo approach. "Ah, the great storyteller," he exclaimed, gesturing him closer. "Are you ready for today?" "Yes, Father, I'm nervous but excited," Carlo replied, a smile breaking on his face. "I can't wait to share the stories with everyone." Padre Francesco placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder. "Nerves are good, they show your passion. Remember, this is a celebration of faith and community. Everyone is eager to see what you've created." The church bells chimed as the hour approached, their melodic sound resonating through the air, inviting all to gather in unison. Carlo felt the flutter of excitement surge through him, an energy that electrified his very being. He had poured his heart into this project, and now it was time to share it with those who had inspired him. As the congregation assembled, Carlo positioned himself at the front, the sun pouring through the stained glass behind him, creating a stunning backdrop. He set up his laptop and a projector, his hands tingling with anticipation as he prepared to unveil his work. When the room fell silent and all eyes were on him, Carlo took a deep breath. "Thank you all for coming today. What I'm about to show you is a collection of stories that you have entrusted to me, your stories of faith, miracles, and the power of community." With that, he clicked the mouse and the first slide flickered onto the screen. It displayed an image of the church, a radiant sun illuminating its facade. The beauty of the building mirrored the warm hearts of those who gathered within. He could see nods and smiles ripple through the crowd. As he moved to the next slide, familiar faces appeared, each one representing a story he had gathered. He began to read excerpts from the stories, weaving a narrative that spoke to the collective experiences of the community. The laughter and tears from each family resonated in his voice as he shared their struggles and triumphs, encapsulating the essence of what had drawn them together. The audience was enraptured, leaning forward, eyes glistening with emotions as the fabric of their stories intertwined, echoing throughout the space. The stories of miracles, a miraculous harvest, a child's recovery from illness, a moment of divine presence, all played out before them, illuminated by the power of faith and love. As he transitioned from story to story, Carlo noticed the energy in the room shift. There were moments of laughter and moments of heartfelt connection, where tears shimmered in the corners of eyes. Families whispered to one another, memories ignited, reminding everyone of hope and resilience threaded through their shared history. Finally, Carlo reached the last slide, a simple yet profound message: "Together we shine." He looked out at the sea of faces in front of him, feeling the weight of their shared experiences settle into the atmosphere. These stories are not just for us, they are meant to inspire others beyond Alatri. They are a testament to the miracles that are possible through faith. As the applause erupted, Carlo felt a wave of relief wash over him. The warmth of connection wrapped around him, embracing him in gratitude. He had given voice to the stories that mattered, and the community had responded with love and support. He could see a few members of the audience wiping away tears, a testament to how deeply their shared narratives had resonated. After the presentation, the atmosphere transformed into a vibrant energy of joy and conversation. Families mingled, embracing one another, sharing stories about their own miracles that echoed Carlo's anecdotes. The sound of laughter and familiar voices swirled around him, reinforcing the sense of community that had grown stronger through the sharing of these stories. Padre Francesco approached Carlo with a proud smile. "You've done wonderfully, my boy. You have captured the hearts of this community. I truly believe that every individual you've mentioned today will carry those flames of faith in their hearts." Carlo felt the weight of the priest's words, a swell of gratitude filling him. He understood now that documenting these stories meant more than preserving memories. It meant igniting hope. The images and words intertwined, breathing life into every miracle. "That's what I hope for, Father, that through sharing our stories we can help others see that miracles are not just events, they are the fabric of our journey and the bonds that unite us all. Carlo responded earnestly, his heart swelling with purpose. As families dispersed, Carlo took a moment to reflect on the day. He felt the divine presence in his heart, a call to action, a mission to ensure that the miracles he had witnessed continued to flourish. There was potential that reached far beyond Alatri, waiting to manifest in lives that needed a beacon of hope. Days passed and Carlo's digital gallery began to take root. He spent countless hours fine-tuning the website. Each uploaded story was accompanied by photographs and personal notes, creating a warm, immersive experience that would invite viewers to connect with the narratives of the people of Alatri. With each interaction, each new voice added to the gallery, he felt the community growing, but he also began to recognize the power of engaging with a broader audience. He strategized ways to reach individuals far and wide. His vision extended beyond just sharing stories locally. He wanted to create a movement, an expansive outreach that would inspire others to share their miracles, regardless of location. Excited by the possibilities, he planned social media campaigns, encouraging people to use their platforms to tell stories of faith, invoking hashtags like Miracles of Faith and Tapestry of Hope. He imagined a web of stories connecting people across the globe, drawing them together through shared experiences and challenges. Weeks turned into months, and with unwavering dedication, Carlo meticulously honed his project. The digital gallery flourished, and soon it became a beloved virtual space for individuals seeking connection, inspiration, and hope. Visitors left comments expressing how the narratives had touched their hearts, illuminating the possibilities of miracles within their lives. As he watched the community grow beyond Alatri, Carlo felt a sense of fulfillment wash over him. He had not only honored the stories of those close to him, but had expanded their reach, inviting a diverse audience to witness the miracles that dwelled within the human spirit. Then came the day he received an unexpected message. A prominent magazine had seen his digital gallery online and wanted to feature it in their upcoming issue about faith and community. Carlo's heart raced. This was it. This was the opportunity to share the inspiring stories of Alatri with a wider audience. The collaboration filled him with excitement. It meant bringing their collective voices to the forefront, showcasing their miracles to an even broader audience. With the magazine's platform, he envisioned countless people sharing their own stories in response, igniting a shimmering flame of faith across the globe. But with that excitement came the weight of responsibility. Carlo understood how vital it was to present these stories authentically while honoring the individuals behind them. He knew their essence was not just about the miracle but the connection, the faith, and the love that knit their experiences together. As he prepared for the feature, he dedicated countless late nights again, refining the written content, selecting the most poignant photographs, and ensuring each story resonated with the heart. He plunged deep into every detail, wanting to show the world the depth of connection, the beauty of every face that adorned the gallery. When the issue finally released, Carlo felt a rush of nervous anticipation. He organized a gathering, inviting the families from Alatri to celebrate together. As they flipped through the magazine, their eyes widened with awe, joy bubbling forth in laughter and pride. "This is amazing," cried one mother, her eyes brimming with tears. "Our stories are here, shared with the world." Carlo felt the warmth of belonging envelop him once more. He had not just created a digital platform, he had built a legacy, a loving homage to life, wrapped in moments that spoke of hope and resilience. The celebration echoed with joy, laughter, and gratitude, drawing everyone together in a poignant reminder that they were part of something bigger. As the evening progressed, Carlo took a moment to step aside, gazing around at the smiling faces. He felt the weight of the journey thus far, a beautiful, bittersweet reminder of how far they had come. This journey was not just his alone, but one that belonged to every individual who had shared their stories and experiences. As he stood there, surrounded by a community of believers, Carlo realized that every miracle he had documented had ultimately illuminated a universal truth, that hope and love could conquer darkness, stitching together hearts across divides, inspiring others to find their own miracles amid life's challenges. With that thought blooming in his mind, Carlo silently promised himself that this was only the beginning. As long as his heart beat with passion for storytelling and faith, he would continue to advocate for hope, for miracles, and for the stories that bound them all together. The journey would go on, evolving, expanding, and transforming, but the essence would always remain deeply rooted in the heart of Alatri, a testament to the unwavering spirit of community and love. In the weeks that followed the festival, the spirit of Alatri felt more vibrant than ever. The stories shared during the celebration continued to echo in the community, fostering not only deeper connections, but also encouraging others to step forward and share their own miracles. Carlo was buoyed by this energy. each day finding new inspiration to further his mission of documenting the lives intertwined through faith and hope. He returned to the church frequently, each visit a pilgrimage of sorts, not just to work on his collection, but also to engage with those who had opened their hearts to him. The walls of San Pietro became a sanctuary where stories were recounted, tears shed, and laughter reverberated, as if the very foundation of the church soaked up the emotions and memories shared within its confines. Carlo decided that it was time to further expand their reach. Inspired by the turnout at the festival and the success of the gallery in connecting people, he began to envision a book, a collection of stories woven together with photographs and reflections that could travel beyond Alatri's borders. The idea thrilled him, a tangible piece filled with the voices of those who had come together to share their triumphs, struggles, and unwavering faith. Carlo felt a flutter of excitement as he sat at his desk, pen in hand, mapping out the chapters he would include in this new venture. He envisioned focusing on themes, miracles of healing, moments of courage, the power of community, and the shared belief that bound them all together. Each chapter would contain personal stories with accompanying images, creating a rich tapestry of narratives that illuminated the power of faith. With each day's light came new stories, people seeking him out, ready to share their experiences. One afternoon, a mother approached Carlo with her son who had been living with a chronic health condition. "He wants to tell his story," she said, pride shining in her eyes. As Carlo knelt to meet the young boy, he felt the weight of their desire to share something powerful. "I want to tell everyone about my miracle," the boy said, his voice trembling with excitement. "I prayed a lot, and after my last visit to the church, the doctors said I could go back to school." Overcome with emotion, Carlo listened intently, capturing every word as he recorded his story. "What do you think made that happen?" he asked. "Because I believed and everyone prayed for me. Love makes miracles happen." The courage radiating from this young boy filled Carlo with awe, proving that the simplest truths often held the most profound impact. As the weeks turned into months, Carlo's collection steadily grew. He made it a priority to reach out to the families who had shared their stories, ensuring they felt included in the book's production. Collaborating with them felt essential. These narratives were not just his to tell, but a shared testament of their lives. One evening, as Carlo reviewed the chapters, he turned to his laptop and began outlining a message to include in the book, a preface that would articulate the heart behind the project. He began to type, pouring out his feelings about the miraculous connections forged through their stories. Miracles are not just grandiose events, they exist within the resilience we show in the face of adversity, in the quiet moments of kindness, and in the community that lifts one another up. This collection is a testament to our shared journey, a reminder that no one need walk alone. Together, we create the fabric of hope that can illuminate the way for countless others. Feeling invigorated by this message, Carlo settled back in his chair, mentally visualizing what the book could become. He yearned for it to be more than just pages bound together. He wanted it to emanate the warmth of community, inviting readers to engage, reflect, and perhaps even share their own miracles. As he worked tirelessly in the weeks leading up to publication, Carlo's heart danced between anticipation and nerves. He knew the book would be a crucial part in spreading the stories of Alatri, sharing not only the miracles experienced, but also the attitudes and beliefs that fostered them. Finally, the day arrived when the first physical copy of the book came through his door, a moment he had envisioned since he first began this journey. He opened the parcel with trembling hands, revealing the cover adorned with a beautiful photograph of the church against a backdrop of vivid color, the heart of Alatri captured perfectly. His breath caught as he flipped through the pages, each one a testament to the love and faith that echoed through the community. He showed it to his family first, eagerly gathering around as he flipped through the stories, witnessing their reactions as emotional reflections of joy and pride washed over their faces. "They're going to see the beauty of our community," his mother said, tears in her eyes as she hugged Carlo tightly. "This is a piece of history, my dear." With deep gratitude in his heart, Carlo knew he would host a special gathering to celebrate this monumental occasion. It was essential to pay homage to those who had shared their lives with him, letting them know that their stories mattered. With new determination, he organized an event centered around the book's unveiling. He reached out to the families, inviting them to gather in the church courtyard once more, families who had contributed, community members, and anyone eager to share this collective moment. On the day of the event, the sun shone brightly, illuminating the courtyard filled with music, laughter, and children playing. The familiar faces of the community gathered around as Carlo set up a small podium, the first copies of the book resting nearby on a table. As the crowd settled, he shared his excitement and gratitude, his voice filled with emotion. Today is a celebration of our shared miracles, our resilience, and our unwavering faith. This book is not just my creation, it belongs to all of us. It is a living testament of who we are and the experiences that unite us. With a deep breath, Carlo held the book close, feeling the weight of the stories it contained. Let us continue to inspire one another, to share our stories, and to honor the miracles that await us all. Together we shine. The applause that erupted felt like a chorus, resonating with the energy of the community. One by one, families came forward, taking their copies, some holding tears of joy as they saw their loved ones' stories within the pages. As the event unfolded, Carlo could see people mingling with newfound connections, rekindling friendships and fostering conversations sparked by the stories they had shared. He felt a sense of warmth fill the courtyard, a wave of love and hope that washed over all present. He paused to absorb the moment, realizing that the book was more than just a collection of stories. It was a catalyst for connection, a means to ignite a shared journey toward faith beyond Alatri, inspiring others to see the miracles within their lives as well. With each person who approached, Carlo heard whispers of gratitude, encouragement, and excitement, not just for what the book represented, but for the ripple effect they could create together. He knew that this was not merely an ending, it was the beginning of another chapter in their journey. More stories would come, more lives would intertwine, and the essence of faith would continue to flourish across boundaries. As he looked around at the sea of familiar faces, Carlo felt a profound sense of belonging and purpose. With the spirit of Alatri thriving within him and the world opening up before him, he embraced the promise of moving forward together, shining brightly with faith, hope, and love. As the festivities began to wind down, the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm glow over Alatri. Carlo soaked in the scene around him, the courtyard still buzzing with laughter and heartfelt conversations. Families gathered, their faces radiating joy, while the night air carried the sound of music and excitement. It was a magical evening, one that would linger in their hearts for years to come. Carlo stood at the periphery, reflecting on the journey that had brought them all to this moment. He understood that the book, bearing witness to the miracles interwoven through their lives, had not only been a passion project but a catalyst for change within their community. The celebration had transformed the essence of their shared faith, illuminating a path toward future connections and inspiring others to share their stories. As he observed the united gathering, Carlo's thoughts drifted toward his next steps. He felt an overwhelming responsibility to continue nurturing the bonds formed through this project. There was still so much to explore, so many stories to tell, and countless miracles still waiting to be discovered. In the days that followed, Carlo convened a meeting with the families who had participated in the book's creation. He wanted to gauge their interest in forming a committee dedicated to sharing and expanding their stories of faith. When he shared his vision, excitement erupted around the table. "We can have regular storytelling nights," suggested Sophia's mother, "a space for everyone to gather and share new stories as they unfold." Another voice chimed in, "And we should document those stories too, think about the impact it could have." The ideas flowed freely, each suggestion weaving together a more significant vision. It was clear that everyone wanted to embrace this newfound sense of community and further establish the foundation of support they'd ignited. Carlo could see the determination shining in their eyes as they brainstormed ways to continue uplifting one another. After several brainstorming sessions, they decided to launch a series of community storytelling evenings at the church, inviting people from Alatri and neighboring towns to participate. The events would feature musical performances, open-floor storytelling, and sharing of experiences that highlighted miracles and faith. The gatherings would provide a platform for connection while expanding their reach and encouraging even more individuals to share their miracles. With every event, Carlo envisioned newly shared stories revitalizing the spirit of hope, creating visible ripples that flowed throughout the community and beyond. The overarching belief was that every individual held a miracle within them, and together they could create a beautiful tapestry of faith and resilience. As preparations began, Carlo worked tirelessly alongside the committee to spread the word. They printed flyers, reached out to schools, and utilized social media to share their mission. Buzz grew as people spoke of the storytelling nights, excitement bubbling among those eager to share or witness the testimony of their fellow community members. The inaugural event was set for a crisp autumn evening. Wrapped in anticipation, Carlo arrived at the church early, helping to set up the space. Lanterns hung from the trees, their light twinkling softly against the backdrop of the darkening sky. Chairs were arranged in a circle, creating a sense of intimacy where each voice could resonate and be heard. As people began to filter in, Carlo felt a warmth fill his heart. Friends and families gathered, their faces familiar yet radiant with eagerness for the night ahead. The community atmosphere enveloped him, the same one he had witnessed during the festival, now infused with a renewed sense of purpose. With a mix of anticipation and nerves, Carlo welcomed everyone to the first storytelling evening. He encouraged them to share their personal miracles, creating an inviting space where vulnerability and connection thrived. Each story shared welcomed laughter, tears, and reflection, breathing life into the gathering as they dove into their collective experiences. A young girl with a bright smile spoke about how prayer guided her through a health challenge, and as her voice grew stronger, the room hummed with shared emotion. An elderly gentleman recounted the profound moment he found solace at the altar after a personal loss, his honesty resonating deeply throughout the space. Carlo captured the essence of each story, snapping photographs of the storytellers, recording moments of connection that defined the evening. He could feel the collective heartbeat of their community growing stronger, with each voice adding depth and richness to the narratives they shared. As the night unfolded, Carlo felt an overwhelming sense of fulfillment. The storytelling evenings had transformed into more than just events. They had become a movement, a living testament to the miracles that thrived among them, fostering the spirit of faith that spiraled beautifully outward into neighboring communities. When the final story was shared, applause erupted around the circle, and a hopeful energy filled the air. Carlo recognized that these evenings were not merely about recounting experiences. They were about forging deeper connections, instilling courage in one another, and celebrating the miracles that blossomed through shared paths. With renewed purpose, Carlo stepped back, taking a moment to absorb the manifold stories that had unfolded, each interlaced with laughter, sadness, and the shimmering glow of hope. They had created an inclusive environment where miracles were alive, where every person was valued and every story mattered. Realizing that this was merely the beginning of a broader journey, the stories shared during these evenings would inspire others beyond their small community. Carlo envisioned creating a permanent online space dedicated to these storytelling nights, capturing the beauty of each voice as it echoed outward. As he left the church that evening, the stars twinkling brightly above, he couldn't help but feel a sense of readiness for the future. Together, they would continue weaving their stories, illuminating the path for others to follow, ensuring that the miracles of Alatri would resonate and inspire far beyond their beloved village. A truly deserved lesson. If you agree, please like this video and subscribe for more stories, and tell us what you thought in the comments.